And for the benefit of the VOD, we're just setting up our posts. We have to stream this in a bit of an interesting way with actual display capture on this one. So if at some point you see OBS for a second or whatever, then that's gonna be why. But currently I have it turned off, so that's fine. Okay. Now I believe it's on. And the connection is excellent, so says YouTube, so that's good. Okay, copy video URL, post that there. Set up on YouTube. There's some things I sort of wish that you could set up in advance, like YouTube links, like just decide the URL in advance, you know what I mean? That would be pretty useful. Okay. Right, do a ping there, post here, and I think that's us in a pretty good spot. I think that's probably... the ping is donezo. Right, so... okay, so the first thing I got is a language that I can't fully read, so... I think this is Spanish. Could you put that in English for me, please, Alan over 6? I'm sorry, I don't understand Spanish well enough to answer your question there. Or whatever that might be. Okay. Now, I'm going to click on display capture, go here, and I think... let me check the video. Yeah, it's coming through. Okay, cool. And Abby, you can see this, right?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, cool. Alright, hello everyone. Welcome to our stream. Today we're playing the Half-Life 2 RTX demo. We're going to be playing this at more or less max settings. Yeah, we're going to be going through the whole thing and having a good time with it. This is the demo. This is patch 3 that went live around the start of the month. With me here today, a few other RTBR people may drop in at various points in this stream. But Abby, who is a programmer on RTBR, is with me here now. How are you doing, Abby?
Pretty good. I'm glad to have been a part of Half-Life 2 RTX.
Yeah, so I guess we're going to sports commentate this one, because there's only the pair of us today. Could you set the, so that I don't have to hold tab again, could you set the channel status to say that we're streaming?
Yeah,
so
sure.
that people who jump in know that as well. I think everyone should know, because we did a ping to the whole team, you know. Anyway, there we go. I think that's about all the introductions we have to do, because there's only the pair of us. I mean, and then there's me, Kralik, but, you know, these are introductions. So, we're going to start off with Ravenholm, go into Nova Prospect. We're going to be, you know, kind of like walking around, smelling the roses a little bit. By the way, can chat hear me? Because I had to set up some stuff with OBS. Because of some technical issues I was having, and I just want to make sure that I don't proceed to stream for the next 2 hours if no one able to hear me. Cool, there we go, that's fine, because about 2 streams ago I had that problem, so that was pretty funny. Okay, so yeah, we're going to be ogling things a little bit. We're going to be looking at some pretty areas and at some assets. You can ask some questions, but please bear in mind that Half-Life 2 RTX is under an NDA, and so I cannot answer every single question that you ask. I will pick and choose the questions that I can answer. Yeah, otherwise this is not a sponsored stream either, so I'm not going to be advertising MFG and everything on this one. We're just going to be playing this like developers. So, yeah. Cool. I may talk about a few assets, because obviously not every artist who contributed to Half-Life 2 RTX is going to be here. So I can talk about some assets independently myself, in their absence, and then, you know, if some other RTBR people jump in, then we can talk about that as well. Performance was increased since the last patch, right? Perhaps, but not in any severe way, so I don't really have anything obvious to talk about there. I'll talk about, you know what, I'll talk about something interesting that might explain a little bit about why performance may have slightly improved. So, this is an interesting decision here, that we can kind of like get to. Yeah. Basically, there's a thing that people don't necessarily know about path tracing, which is that the way that the ray calculation works, right? There are rays being calculated every frame. And so when there's light being emitted by, say, like this lamp here, right? The rays are bouncing everywhere, every frame. And the way that the light is calculated is they bounce off of everything, and, you know, then they cast the light on objects, right? So it's not like baked lighting in Hammer, where it does all this and then it bakes the lighting kind of into like a light map texture, right? And so because the rays have to be calculated every frame for maximum accuracy, there are certain things to do with ray collisions and ray bounces which are cheaper or more expensive than you would expect. So a good example is these fences, right? So first of all, these fences here, these wires are actually fully modeled, right? This is not an alpha texture. And the reason for this is because it is a simpler calculation for the rays if they have to go through geometry, which is either solid or not solid, right? Either there is geometry there and it's blocking the ray, or there's not geometry there and it's not blocking the ray, right? And because it's either solid or not solid, it's cheaper for the ray. If you use a texture that has an alpha channel to it, which I think this one originally had, if I turn off the enhancements for a sec, that's not very helpful. But you can kind of, you can see, right, that it's like pixels, right? Instead, right? So if you have something like that where it's actually an alpha channel, it is actually more expensive for the ray, performance-wise, to go through a pixel, because it has to then check the per pixel, you know, it has to check the thickness of the pixel and how opaque the pixel is and so on and so forth. So it's actually more expensive for the ray calculation, right? So this is something I see get brought up a lot about why things in Half-Life 2 RTX have like why we actually model chain links and things that would in Source or something like that would be way cheaper if you modeled them just as an alpha texture, right? But we do that because the ray calculation is cheaper if it's fully modeled, right? And I say all that because these trees in the background, some of them still are, but some of them weren't. If I turn off enhancements again, you can see that these trees in the background in the original Half-Life 2, right, are, again, they are textures that have partial alpha on them, right? They've got pixels, and they've got transparent pixels and stuff. And then in Half-Life 2 RTX, we fully modeled the trees. They're pretty simple geometrically, but it helps. And then the other thing is that ray calculations, as well as being cheaper, they look better if they're bouncing off of actual geometry as well, right? So the grass is another good example. I don't actually think there's going to be any grass here. No, there's not. Because we do the grass a different way in Remix. But yeah, I mean, it's again cheaper to do grass this way with actual geometry than it is to do it otherwise. So yeah, so regarding the grass in this area here, it's really cool because this grass is painted with a scattering tool, which we can then plug the results into Remix, and so we get grass scatter that's a little bit more authored and realistic than just kind of the normal Half-Life 2 grass scattering system. It's also a lot cheaper on the it's also a lot cheaper, way cheaper than you'd expect considering the amount of grass here, than if we did the equivalent amount of grass via the source engine. Because here it's all being pushed to the GPU. But as well as being all pushed to the GPU, Remix can kind of index multiple instances of these grasses, right? And it can be cheaper overall. Here's another example of actual modeled chain links here. For the same reasons I explained back there, it's cheaper to go through actual geometry than it is to go through an alpha-tested pixel. Right, what else have we got here? So we have some great decals, obviously. All these graffitis, most of the graffitis in this demo were remade by some artists in Half-Life 2 RTX. One of them was named, I think, Chikio Brikio. Yeah, that's right. And there was another one. John Freeman also, I think, did some work on some of these graffitis, and they're very nice and faithful. So, yeah, they look great. And I'm just trying to think of what else I can say in this area before we move on. There's a lot to say about a lot of things, but I also don't want to just talk about every single asset necessarily, although every single asset is very lovely. Well, I mean, I think the zombie's pretty great. Where'd that zombie go? Shot off his head. There he is. This zombie here. These zombies are pretty good. They're made by Ted Boyadashev. He did a really great job with making them really gory and really hideous. And it's very interesting because the Half-Life 2 gore is almost kind of a bit quaint now because it's so low poly, right? It's so low poly and the texture resolution is so low, right? It's a little bit quaint. And then we do this and you get back to these things looking absolutely hideous and scary again, and it's interesting. Yeah. And of course we've remade all of these as well. I like just breaking these things and seeing how the shadows go around the place sometimes, right? It's pretty nice. One of my few modeling contributions in Half-Life 2 RTX, because I'm mostly admin, I mostly help people and organize things, and I mostly edit assets once they're in if they need editing. One of my few asset contributions is actually these things holding up holding up the propane canisters here. Not the propane canister itself, but this thing here is one of my few actual asset contributions, which is pretty funny. But I did a couple of pegs. That's probably about all I'll ever do, by the way. But, you know, still fun enough. These gas canisters are very nice. I believe these were made by Alexios on Half-Life 2 RTX. But, yeah. I mean, if I set these on fire, but you can see how our fire casts a nice shadow and around the place. If I walk out here, you'll see the shadows flickering with the fire as well. If you only played Half-Life 2 RTX when it came out, and you haven't played it since, I do definitely recommend you give it another go. The main reason being that we did some changes to how our tone mapper works, and so this fire before used to be quite a lot more yellow. You can still see it on the Steam page screenshots, actually. And now it looks a lot more kind of how you would expect from fire. And then the lighting profile in general is a bit more accurate to Half-Life 2. And particularly the fire lighting and that sort of thing. It's a bit darker overall. It's a lot more accurate. Chris, who is one of the co-leads on Half-Life 2 RTX, did a fantastic job doing all that relighting. And whilst I'm giving him a shout out, I should say that Worm Slayer, who is also the lead developer of Half-Life 2 VR, by the way, and he's a co-lead on RTX. He painted this grass, and it was pretty grueling work, and he did a fantastic job with it. So, yeah, good stuff all round. Of course, we haven't really talked about the weapons yet, so I will do that in a moment too. Cool. You're about done, buddy. There we go. So, I mean, you know, you get most weapons in Half-Life 2 in this demo. The SMG is from Retro Boy. The 357, initially modeled by someone named Rebka, I believe. And then, I believe, finished by Alex Choate. The same is true of the pistol. Modeled by Alex Choate, anyway. Crowbar modeled by someone named Ilya Leah. Who did a really nice job, you know. It's the crowbar, it's pretty iconic. And then the gravity gun made by Retro Boy for Half-Life 2 RTX, who also in the past made some models for RTBR, actually. Did our health charger and suit charger, if memory serves me correctly. So yeah, the gravity gun uses some cool, like, crystal kind of effects in the middle, using the translucency effect in Remix. That kind of means that in certain lights it will actually reflect the environment off the crystal. You can kind of see there how it's reflecting the lamp on that front part of the crystal there. So that's pretty nice. And these kind of real-time reflections, these are, you know, Melonhead, when I went to GDC and demoed this to some press, I did actually make a 486 joke, and no one got it, and I was really sad about it. I was like, I thought I was really onto something. Like, I thought I had thought of something extremely clever, saying the 486 thing, right? So, it's really unfortunate, but oh well. if there's anything that you've tried to check out in the demo that doesn't have a replacement model for it, it doesn't mean we haven't done it, but we only shipped with the demo what was needed for the demo. So I can't answer specifically on specific assets, just to talk to Helljumper here about whether or not we have or not done a overcharged gravity gun and that sort of thing. But you should just know that I can't talk specifically about stuff that's not in this demo, or hasn't been shown in a showcase yet. So just bear that in mind. If you want a productive answer, just ask about what's on screen or in the demo, pretty much. Okay, come on. Okay. So there's some really nice POM effects here that are looking pretty good. This means parallax occlusion mapping, and it's basically this sort of depth in the assets here. So I think I can turn this off. This whole thing is not going to be just a tech showcase, by the way. I'm doing this because I want to talk about the artist's work. Yeah, let me do that. Is that the... That's the best way to do it. Yeah, fine. I think it's here. And then off. Okay. So, without any parallax, you got, you know, a 4K replacement material. Looks nice and everything, right? But there's no depth, right? So if you look at it side on, it's completely flat. And part of the problem when I was kind of looking at this whole thing was that, like, a lot of scenes, I mean, here as well, right? It's just, it's cool that it's remade and everything, but it's completely flat. And we wanted the ability to use parallax because otherwise there's a lot of scenes that just kind of look like, at a distance, like they were just sort of, like, upscaled, basically, because they didn't actually have any depth. And so if you then turn on the depth, right, then suddenly you get this self-shadowing. And this area is completely different with these wood boards, right? And it kind of, instead of having to make all of the sort of, you know, geometry kind of way more complicated, like you know, in Source, if you want more interesting geometry, you have to make it with brushwork and everything, right? But here, you know, we can just use the parallax, and this is particularly useful in places like this. Like in Half-Life 2, this is literally a rectangular area, right? And it still is fundamentally, but you've got this extra depth afforded by these boards up here, and a little bit by the boards up here as well. And does this have parallax? Yeah, I think it does have a little bit of parallax between the boards here too. And the combination of all these things is, like, you know, pretty good going on casting the shadows and stuff. So I'm not going to show every single POM surface in the whole thing, but I just wanted to give one quick shout out to that whole thing. This material and many others that have great POM, although not all, were made by a guy named Michael McCormick, and he is a real MVP. He's done like 150 materials or something by himself, and he's really superb. Of course, the work of every artist contributing to the thing is superb, but Michael has done a really excellent job on materials and has made it a lot easier on other material artists too, to kind of see his work and everything. So yeah, I do want to take a lot of this stream as an opportunity to shout out people who you might just be playing and not necessarily thinking about it, but of course everything here was made by someone, right? There's like 150 artists who have contributed to Half-Life 2 RTX so far, and I'm sure there will be more. And they've all done a really fantastic job, and so I want to occasionally shout out an individual artist, like the maker of this, Sonop, who did a really great job with this as well. And these health kits, I believe, are Retro Boy again. You know, these guys have done an amazing job. They've done some really fantastic, gorgeous asset work. And yeah, it's been really rewarding to see it all come together. There's a few things we've borrowed from Portal RTX as well, that Portal RTX already remade. Thanks, mate. Such as, you know, these wrenches and these tools and stuff as well, so it's pretty nice. Okay. Well, coming out into this alleyway here, let me just... Thank you, mate. I mean, I can throw another one of these, you can see the light that it casts everywhere when it blows up, right? And also the, oh, there we go, that's nice. Come on, walking out with your fire as well. You see that the shadows are actually moving around as well, because they are moving out pretty good. Yeah. So, yeah, this head crab pod, also really cool. So this is one of those assets that we inherited from the teams that were a part of this whole endeavor. So originally this whole thing was kind of kicked off by what is it? 4 mod teams coming together. So it was like RTBR and also Half-Life 2 remade assets and also Project 17 and then also Half-Life 2 VR. And artists from these 4 teams all came together to kind of produce that first Kleiner's Lab demo. And then from there we kind of expanded out into the community, and other artists from around the industry kind of came in and got involved. And this is one of those assets which we inherited from, I believe this one is from P17. It might have received touch-ups, possibly. I don't think it did. I think we pretty much just inherited this straight up. And yeah, no, it looks really, really great here. So that's pretty nice. Yeah, so there's another look at the zombies. The Fast Zombie was made by Simon Lansky. So this one looks really nice as well. Some really great effects on this dude. And we'll get to look at the Poison Zombie again as well later in this stream too. And then this is probably the only other time I'm going to properly poke about any of this POM, but really here, this is making a tremendous difference for POM. So if I turn off the displacement here, turn that off, you can see that the normal map is still doing a bit of shadowing, right? But it's still like completely flat side on, right? And if we take this on quad tree POM, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Individual ridges here are looking just really, really lovely. Really great stuff all round. So this material was made by an NVIDIA artist originally. NVIDIA artists helped with a couple of the assets here. And then Michael took the source files for these things after a few examples were made by NVIDIA. And he then applied that to all the other corrugated metal that is in the demo. So yeah, that's pretty great. So yeah, okay. Right. So let's progress. Yep, so this room's a pretty nice one. Let's do this. There we go. No? Okay, I successfully torsoed all of them instead of doing anything more interesting than that. So, oh well. That's fine. Yeah. So here's there's some great interesting lighting effects being done here. Obviously in Half-Life 2 these are completely fake lights that are kind of being given off by the window, but I think is meant to be simulating like the moonlight coming through the window or something. In RTX you typically try to make all lights as physically based as possible. But this was an example of somewhere where physically based wasn't fully getting the results you wanted, and so you can still use the RTX lights to achieve some similar little hacks here and there as you would do in Half-Life 2. We'll come out here to the pyre. This is of course one of the money shots, and then Grigori running out as well. So Grigori was modeled by Lenoax, and he did a lot of the integration as well. We have a lot of integration experts on Half-Life 2 RTX as well, who do a really great job getting various characters into the game, rigging and that sort of thing. Rigging and implementing characters into the game and doing the facial flexes and everything is a little bit of a thankless task. People typically just see the super cool model and go, yeah, that's cool, isn't it? Yeah, cool model. But people like Pretzel on the RTX team and Lenoax and Stuffy 360 as well all deserve a bit of a shout out for doing this kind of stuff. It's not quite as forward facing as the actual models, but it's still very important work. So yeah. I mean, there's some other stuff here to do with like some POM and some lovely normal mapping and that sort of thing. And then there's a lovely little Easter egg in this car that I've seen a few people mention before. Here with the little Gabe and the Steam Jesus in this car. I actually did not know that was there until after this came out. So there's perhaps other things like that which have come in. Obviously, there's many artists contributing to Half-Life 2 RTX, and they make their own little jokes here and there as they show love for the series and so on. You know, We're all kind of interpreting it in our own way. So, yeah. I spent an unhealthy amount of time looking at this desk, by the way. This was one of the demos in GDC, was some stuff to do with denoising on this desk, specifically. So I spent a lot of time looking at that one desk. Let me... I think I want to turn on the gas first. There we go. And then... you know. That's handy enough. Let me have a look at the chat. Demons, I have done a little bit, but I did some pegs that I showed earlier, but I mostly integrate the assets. And so the flow is basically artists submit the assets and upload them to our Google Drive that we use for storing stuff. And then I take those raw files and put them into the game with remix and stuff, more or less. So that's mostly my job, and then, you know, team organization and so on. I do a little bit of asset fixing on the way in. I guess it's kind of a technical artist job as opposed to a pure artist job specifically. So yeah. But I have done a little bit, but not loads. I did much more of my own RTX work, asset work in Portal Prelude RTX. I would have said that I'm probably not at the same quality as other artists on Half-Life 2 RTX, which is why I don't do a lot of actual asset work. I tend to just kind of get stuff in and make fixes if need be to get stuff into the game. I hope to be this good one day, that's for sure. So, yeah, yeah. And here's another fun thing. Obviously, when you move up in resolution the degree that we are, which typically we go about at least 800% in resolution and sometimes more for some assets, you start being able to read all the text. You can zoom in and read all the text, fully readable, which is pretty fun. I think the artist who did this one was a guy named North Ice. I'm using usernames instead of real names in places because I don't know who does or does not want their real name spoken. So North Ice is a username, and he had to research a little bit about how these things actually work, about how like a propane canister or something like this would actually function, so that his text on there could be accurate. And it's like the dedication at this resolution is pretty funny. The lengths you have to go to. I'll tell you what, this decal was one of mine. Now, this isn't one of mine intended to be like a final asset that was in Half-Life 2 RTX. It's one I had on hand when I was on Project Borealis some years ago. I spent a couple years on Project Borealis back in 2017 to around 2019 or so. And we were talking about doing the Ravenholm demo back then. I did a couple of 4K remakes of a few graffitis from Ravenholm, and this is one of them. This is not the same quality as the graffitis that other people have made for Half-Life 2 RTX now, and we probably will replace it at some point, or at least we should do, because I'm not at the same artistic standard as those other guys. But some of these did manage to sneak through, because we didn't have another remake in time. This... No, I think this one was remade. This one looks too good to be mine. Yeah, I think this one was remade. That one looks too good to be mine. So, yeah. Okay. Turn that off, and we'll go turn off this other one over here in a second too. Some corpses on this pyre here. It's one of those things where you don't really think about whether or not you need to save. There's a lot of gore here, by the way. Maybe possibly trigger warning. But again, because of the fidelity increase, we really do have some pretty grim visuals here. So if corpses aren't really your thing, then you can look away when I start walking up to a body, because I'm about to go and inspect it in great detail. Oh, I've got a question about RTPR. Yeah, why not? How will you plan the transition from Air Exchange to Arctic Borealis, whatever place you end up? I don't mind questions about RTBR for what it's worth. If you have RTX questions, go ahead, but RTBR questions are also fine. You're gonna fly off in a helicopter from the coast, you're gonna crash in the Arctic, and then you're gonna fly off in a plane and crash again in City 17, because double crashes are pretty fun. Okay, there's this charred corpse. This was made by... I don't know actually exactly how to pronounce their name. It looks like Zenri, but I think it's in Russian. So I don't think phonetically it's Zenri, but Zenri, sure, has done some did this corpse here, and also did the Stalker, which I think is in Nova Prospect somewhere. I think we just about squeezed that in. So yeah, that's pretty nice. The other corpses aren't done yet, but they are being done by him as well, so I'm sure they'll be just as grim. I think he also did the I didn't look at the classic smiling corpse. This one does not use an actual corpse for any part of its texture. I think the artist by and large did not look at real material, although I don't know exactly what they looked at. But no real material was actually used in the texture this time. So you know, I guess that's nice. And then the fossils as well on these things. So we're gonna meet our first poison headcrab in a minute. Cool. Let's do this. I should say, by the way, I'm parroting a lot of things which I've either answered in interviews we've done before with, say, Lambda Generation. So Lambda Generation have been delightful community partners with this whole thing, by the way. They've been superb. I want to give them a special shout out for being really helpful in kind of connecting Half-Life 2 RTX to the community and talking with them about things. So I did an interview with them, as did Chris and Worm, yeah, that's Worm Slayer. We did an interview with them back in 23 where we talked about some of this stuff. And I've since done a couple of other interviews around the place, and we also did one for the 20th anniversary of Half-Life 2. So some of this stuff I'm parroting from there. Most of this stuff in fact, most of this stuff, pretty much all of it, I'm just parroting from things we've said before. I'm just kind of giving you a in-context talk about it. I believe this is another asset from Project 17. In fact, a lot of this furniture is... not this one, interestingly, as I pick it up. This one was made by someone named Error Breaking, and they did all the gibs as well. So those are all looking very nice too. So that's very nice. And this one's fun because on the original asset, if I turn off enhanced assets for a minute, this might just turn out the lights. Oh, it's okay. On this one, yeah, the little things on the drawers aren't even modeled. And then yeah, here we're actually properly modeled with metallics and everything. So it's really nice. So these generators are inherited from Portal RTX. It was really useful being able to just kind of lift stuff from Portal RTX when we needed to. You know, for people making remix mods, we've also said it's okay to lift assets from Half-Life 2 itself. So there's some people in the RTX remix modding community who make mods for other games like Call of Duty 2 and Need for Speed Underground 2 and that sort of thing. A lot of 2s apparently. And I think some of them evaluate whether or not to lift assets now and then from Half-Life 2, because the assets are free to use non-commercially. Has been our goal with these. Mostly, primarily in remix mods was our intention, but people can also use them commercially. So if you're brave enough to port some of this stuff to Half-Life 2 just so it doesn't work because it's too high poly, then you are welcome to do that. But some of it might work. In fact, I actually have seen people port it to the Half-Life Alyx workshop. A few things. So that's pretty neat. Here's another example of alpha, by the way. And again, I think this is a really strong example, so it's probably going to be the last one that I actually specifically show of the alpha thing. But this texture, you can see that the grate is actually fully modeled. It actually has geometry. If I turn off the enhancement again, you see again, this is another one that was kind of like alpha-tested pixels. And then if I do this again, there you go. There's the actual geometry and everything. And this is again for the same reason that ray tracing through real geometry is paradoxically cheaper than ray tracing for alpha-tested pixels. Just to do with how ray tracing works. Any more Xenians planned for the RTBR? Yeah, we do have some planned for RTBR. Did I turn the smoke and fog off? No, I don't think so. It might be possible to play RTBR in Lambda Fortress, but I don't know because I haven't played it. So, I mean, if it just works with Half-Life 2 maps, then, like, you'll get some of the way with RTBR. Our code is open source, up to Div 2. And when Div 3 comes out, we will eventually open source the Div 3 code. and so on and so forth. So if you'd like to, if you'd like to, oh hello, he's still alive. If you'd like to, you know, if Lambda Fortress's code is also open source, I'm not sure if it is, but if it is, then you would be able to port RTBR stuff into it and then make it work. That is up to you. Is there any way to donate? I can't give you a date for the full release of RTBR or RTX, for that matter. But I can say that if you'd like to donate, you can donate on this stream, and to the channel. RTBR donations we don't pocket the money; it goes straight to charity. We do a charity vote every couple months or so to decide what charity is going to get our donation. We've donated to cancer a few times, LGBT charities as well. I think some of that stuff. So yeah, if you donate any money to the RTBR stream, it goes straight to charity, and it goes straight to making the world a better place. And that is reward enough for us. Wave says that some decals appear to be 3D, and indeed they are. I think this has an actual height map. Yeah, it does. You can see the bricks coming out a little bit here, right? And also,
the poison head crabs.
Yes, the poison head crabs. We will talk about those. Yeah. What am I doing? This. Yeah, so the POM needs a bit of work on this. As you can see, it's a little spiky right now, but the impact decals actually also use POM. If I do that as well into the surface. So yeah, they need a little bit of cleanup in the middle and around the edges, but you can see that the bullet decals are actually using POM as well. The poison head crabs are not from Half-Life Alyx. The poison head crabs are actually modeled anew for Half-Life 2 RTX. So the normal poison and fast head crabs are all modeled by a very capable NVIDIA organics artist who made these for us to give us a bit of a head start, and he did a really amazing job. And they have a little bit of subsurface scattering, I believe. Trying to get an angle where you can kind of see it. Yeah, you can see it there on the rim of the opening. So if I zoom in there and then go here, so subsurface scattering is something else we have in this demo. It's basically just making sure that light goes through some surfaces. I think we have it. Do we have it? Yeah, we do. Okay, so with it turned off, looks like that. It looks a little flatter and stuff like that. And if I turn it on, you can see that the light is diffusing along the flesh a little bit more. Where the skin should be thinner, around the lips of the opening. The orifice, I guess you could say. The light is kind of being transmitted through and being modulated on the way through. So a lot of the organics in this demo have access to this, and other critters will use this as well. You don't necessarily use this on every single organic thing. Like, for instance, like, it wouldn't make sense to use it on, say, antlions, for instance, because antlions don't actually... antlions aren't, like, because they're made of, like, hard bug exoskeleton chitin stuff, they shouldn't really be, transmitting light in the same way. But, yeah. Some lovely materials there as well. You can see the real-time reflections from the lights there. So there's that light being reflected, and then I believe that light over there is being reflected in that corner. Or maybe that's that one. No, I think it's that one in that corner. So it's bouncing there and it's being reflected. So it's not just screen space ray tracing, it is actually ray tracing things that aren't specifically on the screen, but are being rendered somewhere else. We're using the same music as Half-Life 2 in the actual game, but in the trailers... oh, we got another poison head crab. Enough out of you. There's going to be a couple more that drop down here, isn't there? There we are. Yeah, so in the trailers for Half-Life 2 RTX, we have, like, remixes of the music tracks, and these are done by a guy named Fret Fingers on Half-Life 2 RTX. It's another one of those things, it's like, he doesn't necessarily... It's hard to, like... know exactly his thing because it's not in the game, it's only in the trailers, but his remixes are fantastic and they really add a lot of energy to the trailers. And I think he's actually got the music out on his SoundCloud. So if you look for Fret Fingers Half-Life 2 RTX, you might be able to find the remixed tracks that he made for the trailers. Otherwise, we aren't going to be using tracks that are different from Half-Life 2. It might be an interesting mod to make if Fret Fingers were okay with it, but uses the remixed music and puts it into the game. That would be an interesting mod, perhaps. Here's actually a decent opportunity to talk about a contribution by an RTBR person, which is the gravity gun particles, which were done by Random Cat on RTBR, who does all of our particles pretty much on RTBR. And he did these great gravity gun particles here. And he's been working with someone else you'll recognize in the community for particles. Gunship Mark II from Half-Life 2 M-Mod has done some of our other particles for things like some muzzle flashes and fire and a few other things. And so him and Random Cat have both been working to do particles. In order to kind of give the particles a little bit more pizzazz, if you will. Could the weapon model trespassing certain surfaces? If you're talking about this bug here, we are aware of it and we're looking into it. It's not an easy fix though, so it's one of those things where I can't guarantee anything on that, but we are aware of it. So yeah, no, we're thinking about it. That's about the best I can give you right now. Are these walkways? Yeah, these are the same walkways. These walkways are obviously modular, so we just made one and then repeat it for where we need to, so that works. Will Half-Life 2 RTX get workshop support? I don't know. I don't know if it seriously will or not. I'm not against it. But, yeah. Hello, Gregory. He's actually got a little bit of a subsurface on his ear, as you can see as well. So his ear actually transmits a bit of light. So that was sensible of me. Okay. Just going back to the workshop support, I don't know if Half-Life 2 RTX will have workshop support specifically, but we are really trying to keep modding support in mind. Which is to say that we are doing some work to try and be on map base, for instance. I don't know if you want to talk about that, Abby, a little bit.
Yeah, so yeah, we didn't get map base into the demo, but map base is sort of something that we have planned for Half-Life 2 RTX. Just so people can like have all the quality of life features that map base adds when mapping for Half-Life 2 RTX.
Yeah. So the goal is for Half-Life 2 RTX to be very nice and moddable, and we'd really like it if people were doing things like plugging really good classic Half-Life 2 mods and map packs and stuff into RTX and just seeing what it takes to make them work. We'd love it if people ended up using Half-Life 2 RTX to make like a bespoke RTX mod. That would be kind of cool too. So not purely a remaster, but like using remixes like the graphical layer could be kind of neat. So yeah. Half-Life 2 RTX runs on the original version of Half-Life 2. Not the original version, sorry. The Source SDK-based 2013 single-player mouthful version of Half-Life 2, because that's what was out at the time. We did look at the anniversary changes, and there's not actually basically any that are relevant to Half-Life 2 RTX. We might inherit some of the map-specific ones at some point, but the other thing with those is a lot of those map-specific ones don't actually... we don't have the sources for them yet. As far as I'm aware, and so implementing them is a bit of a difficulty right now. So it doesn't mean we're never gonna do it, but it's kind of like right now we're just doing Half-Life 2 as it is in the SDK, and then we'll see about everything else pretty much. I've really exhausted my prop supply here for smack dudes, haven't I? Right, let's do some car on zombie action then. This is a great place for the dynamic shadows to really stretch their legs as well, right? Like you can see as they become longer, they get more diffuse at the edges and stuff. And if I do this one, you see the shadow becomes sharper as it approaches the light, and then as it gets further away, it becomes more diffuse at the edges until it kind of is blending into the back a bit. It's pretty nice. I will not be able to give you a Division 3 release date at this time, sorry. Okay. Well, alright. So, is one of these posters remade? Yeah, this is one of the posters that's remade. Okay, cool. So we have some posters that are remade. Again, we inherited these from P17, I think. And these actually have holes modeled in them as well, which looks pretty nice. So those cast some shadows through, which is pretty nice. And then of course they have that kind of ruffling effect on the surface layer as well. Right, what else? And these posters as well. So these posters were remade by... Who were these posters remade by? I actually want to make sure I'm crediting people correctly, so I'm just going to quickly double check my team list so I can be sure of that. Give me just 1 second. As I just double check the list. The name's on the tip of my tongue, sorry. Who is it? Yeah, they go by Spongy. Again, I'm not using people's real names unless I already know that I'm not using people's real names unless I already have consent from one thing or another. But Spongy, the username. So she did a lot of great research into like the actual posters used in places, and so she was actually able to source the original like kind of assets and posters for some of these, and some other people on the team, particularly Eastern European people on RTX, have also gotten pretty good at recognizing posters from online and that sort of thing that were used. And so you can basically get the original poster, bring it in, modify it, make it fit, grunge it up a bit, make it fit, and then you get a lovely, authentic result like this. Which, if I, excuse me, do this, you see, you can see where we found the actual original material in a lot of these instances, right? And where the original material could not be found for whatever reason, some very decent and authentic remakes were done instead. So this poster here in particular is an example. I think we literally found the original, right? So that's pretty handy. And then this little decal was also replaced, and this was done by someone named, I think this was, you know, their username is their real name actually, so I don't know what I should say there. But there is an artist on the team. I guess I could say their first name is Alexi. I think that's fine to not use their full name. So Alexi did this one. So saying all this, in case these artists watch this stream, I want them to know I'm appreciating their work, and but you guys are appreciating their work too. And this blood is also very gory and lovely, of course. So that's very nice. It's got a great effect as it mixes with the bricks as well, with the POM. Pretty great. It kind of flattens to the bricks. Oh my god, I need to go in there. Right, I need to go in there because one of the most insane assets in this whole fucking thing, because I have to swear here because this is crazy. One of our most insane assets is in here, so I have to go in here. It's gonna be kind of awkward to show because it's only actually here, but this asset here, right? Maybe if I like is there anything I can do to like cast some light in here? How bright in here is it if I turn off enhancements? 1 sec, let me... It's not actually that bright in here, unfortunately. Okay, right. So this one's a little bit challenging to actually show the original, but I want you guys to picture, right? This asset here, which is, we're gonna no clip around this one. This is done by again, let me double check. I'm pretty sure I know who this was done by, but I'm just going to make 100% sure, because this is, we need to be sure of this one. God, Discord search function is really awkward, eh? I believe this was... Yeah, I'm pretty sure this was Yoshi. Yeah. Okay, so it's by BB Yoshi 147, and he was given what amounted to a trapezoid and a cube. And that was all that this asset was. It was two very primitive shapes, and we said, we think this is supposed to be a mine hopper of some description. And he went, okay, and he made this thing. So the comparison shot between this and the original is actually insane. And that's why I really wish I had a way to cast some more light in here, but I don't think I readily do. Can you create dynamic lights with the console and create light dynamic? Is that something you can do? No, not really. Abby, can you think of any way to spawn some light in here?
You could like, I don't know how host timescale works. You could probably like slow it down really quickly, really slow, and like chuck a grenade down.
I could do that, yeah. Okay. Okay, and then let's see if this works. This might be a little awkward. There we go. You can kind of see it. Right. I'm gonna and then. Damn. Okay, like let me do that again. Oh, I need to give weapon frag. I'm going to a lot of effort here to disrupt the stream because I need you guys to understand how good this asset is. Okay, I need you guys to understand this. Right?
Yeah, it looks pretty awesome.
Have I done this wrong? And create weapon frag. Okay. Okay. Okay, let me do that again, but now I'm gonna host timescale, I guess. First I'm going to do this with replacements on. So I want the comparison shot, right? And then host timescale 0.01. Okay, look. Right, look at this. That's what it used to be. Okay? Look at that. Great idea, by the way, Abby. Look at this. Huh? Insane. Actually insane. Okay, and that's what some of these assets are doing. So this is an example of where we took an asset that used to be brushwork, right? So literally used to just be 2 brushes in hammer, right? And then we proper it, right? Which is a mapping term for when you... Oh, okay. It's a mapping term for when you turn some brushwork into a prop, right? And then then we replace that propered model, right? And that's what we did for that in there, right? So there's a lot of things in here which used to be just like a couple of boxes in hammer or something, and which we then fully model the whole thing, right? And then you get a result like that, and it just looks superb, right? So yeah. As we're going through here, a few things to mention as well, stuff like there's some window frames and that kind of thing. Chris, again a co-lead on Half-Life 2 RTX, did a lot of work modeling actual window frames and positioning them into the map with remix replacements, so that the maps, so that as well as POM, adding a little bit of depth to these surfaces, we also have actual extra geometry in some places as well. So the extra geometry that comes from basically 3 sources, right? It's 1, POM. It's 2, actual extra geometry into the map, like insetting these windows and that sort of thing. And then the third way we get the extra geometry is taking brushwork, turning it into a model with proper or something like that, and then replacing that model with a high-res version in Remix, right? Oh, look at the POM on that brick wall. That's crazy. Look at that, walking around this corner. My god. Oh, look at that. Isn't that a pretty brick wall? I want to touch that. You can. Look, I'll walk right up to it. Philip was, Free Clicks Philip was getting very happy about the POM. I did get to meet Free Clicks Philip at GDC, actually, and we talked about POM for many hours. Many hours, because we shared a plane flight home. So if I turn this off, look at that. The difference. Oh, beautiful. Okay. Right, and we've successfully played the first map of Ravenholm. So, it only took us about an hour. It's fine. Okay. Oh. There's our first living fast head crab. I've still got God mode on. That's fine, I can let him run around for a minute. Yeah, I could just, in fact, no target. Is he just gonna run around now? I've got no target on. He's a bit. See, he's got subsurface on as well, right? He's acting finally now that I've turned on no target. Oh, look, he's dancing! Anyway, yeah. The subsurface looks really great here on this guy as well, particularly. As he runs into the light and out again, you can kind of see it reflecting off his surface. Again, through his folds. Right, so turn that off, Play this normally now. Alright, wait. Cool, donezo. Oh, and that zombie's dead too. Very nice. Some more poison head crabs down there. Didn't quite swap quickly enough. I'm too used to the draw frames on RTBR. There we go. Whoop. I don't actually have any bullets to set this off, so I'm gonna have to do that.
You picked up some SMG bullets.
Did I? Oh, so I did. Very nice. Cool. Oh my god, look at all the shadows going around everywhere. Crazy. And the shadow being cast through the holes in this cinder block. That's what I mean. Like, this is just the stuff you don't get without real-time shadows. Like, the actual holes in the cinder block. Getting them to come through. Beautiful. Just, I think it's time to just spam barrels everywhere until I kill everything. Old reliable. Okay, that'll do. Yep. I like these electrical boxes as well. I really like looking at these ones. These ones have like cute little lights on them. And they've even actually got a little tiny glass covering over the light that's actually itself refracting some of the light. If I no clip into that here. Right. Oh, I'm too slow now. Am I too slow? Why am I not moving? Okay, here we go. Alright. You see there's a little glass covering? And it's itself actually doing some really great refractions. It's a little noisy when you go that small, but you know, it's worth it. It's worth it for the refractions. It looks lovely. Right, so head in here and grab the supplies that are in here as well. Of course, these things give off a lovely bit of light. Oh, and this mattress as well. So this mattress, you can see the actual folds in the mattress are fully modeled here as well. This was flat originally too. Another great example on that one. Alright. There's one electrical box I forgot to show in the previous map, which I was hoping was in this one, but I don't think it is yet. So, oh well. If we get there, we get there. Oh, this ivy is a great example, actually. So this ivy in Half-Life 2 was actually a 2D decal. We're probably not going to be able to do... we're probably not going to be able to do a proper comparison here, because this is one of those things where we inherited an improvement from Half-Life 2 VR. Which was to basically put modeled ivy here. I think the modeled ivy is from Counter-Strike or maybe Left 4 Dead or something. So if I turn off the enhancements here, you'll see that so this ivy in Half-Life 2 was not modeled. This was just a decal going up the wall. We got the modeled ivy, which we inherited from the Half-Life 2 VR improvements to these maps, because Worm, he brought those over when he joined the team. And then we replaced that with a higher resolution model as well, of course. And then these leaves actually also have subsurface. So you can see that they're actually transmitting the light as it passes through them as well, like leaves should do. So that's pretty nice too. It's a different kind of subsurface than the one that's on the organics. There's a different calculation for like this specific type of subsurface. But the principle of light transmission is the same. No, Half-Life 2 RTX is not specifically running on a Half-Life 2 VR version. It's just we inherited some map improvements from Half-Life 2 VR. There's no VR in in RTX at this time, I'm afraid. I know Worm is really looking into it, and I think it'd be super cool. But there are some limitations to do with shaders and that sort of thing right now, regarding how that stuff works. I guess it's not impossible, but it's not going to happen through us, at least specifically.
You need the machine that can run on Crysis for it.
Yeah, I mean, can you imagine having to run this in VR as well? Like, that'd be pretty funny. Having to run 2 of these at once. Yeah, here's another place where POM looks great, by the way. And this is another place where Philip said he specifically really liked the bricks and the POM. So, and this is another place where Chris's level edits come into play, because he did this, this asset here. which uses the brick texture, but he basically projected the height map onto it to make actual geometry. And then, yeah, this gives this wall just a little bit more pop, because without that asset, it would have been flat into the wall. A POM would have helped. But yeah, you know. Okay. Yeah, let's poke around. Oh, was this one done by who I think it was? So we actually have someone else on the team who people don't necessarily expect. This is Commander Carl. If you've seen those reloading household objects in real life videos where he like reloads like a vacuum cleaner and that kind of thing, we have him on the team. So he's actually a very capable 3D artist himself. And I believe he modeled this table, I think. This table looks like his. I think this table's his. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is his. He's done some pretty interesting, models for us, and he's doing something very interesting right now. So you know, you'll see that when you see it. This engine is still running Source 1, but it basically the rendering is being handled by RTX Remix. So Remix is kind of like a wrapper. You put it into a game that works with Remix, and then it intercepts the rendering as it's being sent to the GPU, and then it allows you to replace those assets in real time. So yeah, we're talking about Commander Carl. That's right. Commander Carl is the guy who did that table. That's right. I wasn't sure if people would know his username specifically, or the thing, or more by the thing that he does. But yeah, he does those reloading FPS weapons, reloading household objects, like the FPS weapons videos. And yeah, he's also a very capable modeler in his own right. He's worked on things like Callisto Protocol, I think, as well. So yeah. Okay. Come on. Table number 2. There we go. And he's going at him with a wooden table. There we go, that's another one. A couple more down here. I have some of these grenades I cheated in for myself earlier. I'll just throw one of those, why not? We're not doing an MLG stream today, so my conscience is clear.
It's not the authentic experience.
I'm afraid not, no. You guys giving video feedback for the tech? Yeah, we do. I mean, we're basically advanced testers of RTX Remix because we had access to it before it went public to kind of kick off some stuff. And features like POM, which is what's allowing the brick work here, and I'm just gonna flick that on and off again for the money shot because why not? There you go. Off. On. Oh, delightful. We requested POM to actually you know, be able to do that sort of thing, and NVIDIA found a way to make it happen. So we basically are a really great test case for them of what would people actually want to do with Remix, and then if we can put through like a feature request that's useful, then like they can implement it and we have use for it. So some stuff they send down the pipe to us as things they're already looking into, and some things we suggest and say, hey, we could use a feature like this, and then we maybe sometimes work together like with POM to get it in and to really demonstrate it. Yeah, the fast zombies are using a new model. POM means parallax occlusion mapping. So it's parallax. It's when you basically use a height map to displace a surface. It's kind of the next step up from a normal map. So it's still not real geometry, quotation marks, but it has more actual rendered depth than a normal map. Okay, walking around the corner. I'm gonna have some of my Pepsi, sorry, real quick. My voice is getting a bit dry. Okay. Excuse me. Okay, so POM is sometimes about the same performance cost as actual geometry. It's not necessarily cheaper. But the advantage with POM is that if we wanted to say model every brick here, the amount of time that would have to be spent by an artist actually modeling every brick, and then the amount of the amount of time we'd have to spend implementing those assets, you know, would be insane. But like with POM, we just remake the material, make a height map, and then we can apply it. And except in places where we really need a bespoke approach, that can handle it across the whole game for that material, right? In some corners, although not here specifically, you can see there's like a little bit of a Maybe you can kind of see it here. It's hard to see because half of this corner's in darkness. Sorry. On really sharp corners, you can kind of see the weaknesses of POM a little bit, since it is like a normal map, right? It's like implied depth, it's not actual model geometry. It is one step up on faking the depth, pretty much. But it's way more efficient for workflow. So it's a similar expense to actually modeling the geometry, but then it's way more efficient for us as a team. Like, we couldn't possibly model all this geometry, right? The min spec of this demo, Pedro, is a 3060 Ti. I think that means reaching 1080p. I think that's 1080p 30 FPS for the min spec. I would check the performance charts, and then also, you know, you can fiddle with the settings until you get something you think looks okay. I would say start from the performance charts first. You can turn POM into an actual model, not like just in the game, kind of, but there's a couple of assets in this map, actually, which were done this way. Is this one of them? Yes, this is in fact one of them. I think that's one of them. I don't think that's POM. Oh, no, that is POM. Okay, not that one. Maybe that one up there? Yeah, that one up there is. Okay, so what Chris did, who is, just to reiterate again, a co-lead of Half-Life 2 RTX, for some assets like this top window arch, uses the same brick material as this background brick. So he basically projected the height map onto the geometry in Blender, and when you do that, you can basically bake in the height and bake in the depth so that it is actually modeled. And so this asset is actually completely modeled. This one's not using POM. This wall is using POM. This asset is not. And so once you've generated a height map, you can actually bake in the height map into a specific piece of geometry, but we typically don't. We do it for very specific circumstances. POM is applied to like most assets, but the thing about POM is as long as you design around it when you're making the material, it's not that much more work when making the material anyway. And so it's worth doing because it adds so much depth to so many assets. Like, again, this corrugated metal just looks lovely, 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 right? And this stone wall material here as well looks really nice with the POM and the brick and everything as well. And these windows, and you can see the plaster that's getting kind of like indented here from the POM as well. Right, so... Oh, hello. Goodbye. Some nice gutter pipes. Is this a gutter pipe? I think it is. I'm not sure it is. There is a gutter pipe here, which is done by someone I haven't shouted out yet, and I'd like to get the opportunity. I don't think it's this one. I think this asset was done by Exeros. It was also a developer from Half-Life 2 Remade Assets / Project 17. Yeah. The creator of this asset, his username is also his real name, and his real name is even his first name is very standout. So I'm just gonna call him Demo, because I think that's what he sometimes goes by in some places. He did a really great job as well. Him and Michael did a lot of really great materials for this, and the NVIDIA artists that helped out as well did a really great job. One of them has a public portfolio and everything. Stan Brown, he was a really great help with this whole thing. Yeah. So these train tracks were originally a 2D material in Half-Life 2, not with actual geometry and everything. And here we use the same gravel for underneath the train tracks, and then we actually put a modeled train track on top. I think this modeled train track is actually in the engine, so this is another one like the Ivy that's going to be a little hard to compare. But I can at least do... no, not that. This. Kind of... You can get an idea, like the underlying material here had this train track baked into it in 2D, and then we made a 3D train track, and then we replaced that with a super high quality model, basically. Okay. So... Oh, we need to go up the building. Yeah, that's right. And these pipes are made by someone named... first name again, no second name, Brayden. So he did a really great job with those pipes as well. yeah, we have a lot of lovely little assets in here that are quite homey. This washing machine also inherited from Half-Life 2 remade assets in P17. And this paint can made by another really great artist named Evgeny from Nvidia. Oh, that was a bad idea. That's fine. It works. Yep. Oh, nice. Revolver ammo. I needed that. We haven't barely used the revolver this whole time. So this demo is 45 gigabytes. 40 gigabytes, yeah, something like that. 45, 40, something like that. And it's worth noting a lot of materials in Half-Life 2 are reused, right? But then a lot of materials are also not. So the final game will probably be pretty big, to be honest with you. There's kind of just nothing that can be done about that. When you're remaking every asset from 512 by 512 to be in 4K, you know, at minimum, there's kind of a little bit of, you know, thing that comes with that. But I think it'll be worth it visually if you find some space for it. So... go.
Here, brother. Come closer. You've stirred up hell. A man after my own heart. Here, I have a more suitable gun for you. You'll need it. Catch. Good. Now, keep it close. My advice to you is aim for the head. Hush. They come. There is no rest in Ravenholm. Move on and I will meet you at...
There's a lot of various assets in Half-Life 2 RTX, which aren't all like a frontline like asset that's being shown. Let me get the shotgun here as well. Actually, I can talk a little bit about some stuff here. So some of the weapons sound a bit different if I shoot them a bit. And the shotgun as well. And the reload too. And these are done by Fret Fingers again. So he's the one who did the music remixes for the trailers, and he also updated a few sounds. So as well as animations and particle effects, some weapon sounds also being updated. Here we are beneath some really dirty water. That's pretty hideously grimy. You probably don't want to be in there for too long. Water actually also uses the translucency or glass shader. Excuse me. Uses the glass shader, and then you can apply things like transmittance. So this water is not meant to be very transmittable because it's extremely dirty. When you get in there and it's like it's hideous and scummy and stuff. And if you come close to the top, I'm trying to get close enough to the top, but I'm not actually getting out of it. But you can kind of see that there's like a kind of a ring, kind of like a ringy halo effect, sort of. And this effect is because this is a real effect in real life when you're swimming up. There's like a kind of a halo on these things on water as you're swimming up in water. And that effect is just kind of natural because of the way that we didn't have to specifically implement that feature. When you use like realistic glass to do it, it just kind of naturally works that way. It's really great. There's a lot of things you kind of just get by default because you're working with path tracing, which is meant to be as physically simulated as possible. And that's one of them. Okay, I'm going to close this door. And then I'm going to click this. And this is going to be interesting. Oh, okay. Okay, he jumped up and jumped back through the same window. That's pretty funny. Okay, grenade. Yeah. Yeah, so the sky textures in this demo aren't remade yet. We do plan something like that for the full thing. But what we did do is we actually added we actually added HDRIs into the skybox. So it's stuff like this moon glare here. You zoom in and you can see it's still the same low resolution Half-Life 2 sky. Like I say, we still want to remake them all more detail in higher resolution. But the HDRIs gives it a little bit of light calculation. It allows bloom like that from the moon to come in, so it looks really nice in that way. Oh, this is going to be interesting when we get to the bottom. Come on, let me through. Let me get these health. Oh, that's cheeky. There's a Breen can down there. I didn't notice that before. I wonder if Worm added that. What have I done? Oh, poison zombies. Okay. Can let him walk around a little bit. Go on, toss your other head crab, mate. Oh. Bye-bye. So this zombie was modeled by the same NVIDIA artist who did the 3 headcrabs for us. So the normal zombie was done by Ted Boyadishev. The fast zombie done by Simon Lansky. These two are Half-Life 2 RTX developers from the community, but they have their names on their portfolios and stuff. And then this poison zombie was done by Jaelong, who is the artist who also did the 3 headcrabs, and he did a really great job with this. Looks really hideous, and I'd like to try and blast the headcrab off its head. Oh, hang on, let's try it again. Oh, well, maybe not. Right. Trigger warning a little bit, because the back is going to look hideous. There you go. Look at that. Ugh. Grim.
Ugh.
Absolutely grim. All the way through to the spine and everything. Hideous. And then let me see if... can I fire pick a set? No, I don't know. Something to do with body groups, but that's fine. If we see one with the head crab off its head, you'll see its face, but he is not thrilled to be alive. Or rather, not alive, I guess. Okay, I think from here I go up on this car. This car is from Half-Life Alyx with some edits. We are using Half-Life Alyx assets in a few places. When we kicked off this project, something that helped us really get it off the ground quickly was we inherited a bunch of assets from Portal RTX, but were remakes of Half-Life 2 assets. A bunch of assets from Half-Life Alyx, which were the same, like these cars, for instance. And then we also inherited a bunch of assets from the Half-Life 2 remade assets and Project 17 teams. And so just kicking off, we already had about 350 or 400 assets, which we could just kind of integrate. Now, not all of these were at the quality we want for the final game, and so some have ended up being remade over time. But, like, we got a pretty big head start. That's, like, about 8% of the assets in Half-Life 2, just right off the bat. I mean, that's not including any weld materials. I don't think we've reused any from Half-Life Alyx, from memory. I think we've had to remake all of those. Since Half-Life Alyx materials and remade assets in P17, which are all fundamentally for Source 2, all use PBR, which is the realistic materials kind of shader that modern games use and modern rendering uses. That's happening, by the way, because the fire is casting the shadow, but it's not updating quite as quickly because it's an effect light and not a real light. That's just one of the limitations right there. That's why that's doing that. Because it all uses PBR, you can you pretty much just plug them in. The only difference is whether or not they match the asset precisely. So this car was clearly a remake of a very specific car from Half-Life 2, but it didn't quite like hit it completely. So we did basically just need to kind of like edit it a little bit, like edit some proportions and some locations of some key assets and that sort of thing. But yeah, otherwise a lot of them are almost plug and play, to be honest. So okay, we're in the last map of the last fresh bit of Ravenholm, but it's in this demo now. So we get some barrels and stuff. Now this corner, this is a very pretty corner. I'm gonna blow up some dudes in a minute. Maybe? No, okay. This corner we used for a lot of demoing a lot of features. You can see POM is out in full force on this wall here and with these bricks here. This ivy is a profound improvement over the original because of the ivy being like a decal in the original. We've got some actual geometry here as well in the windows. And then of course we've got POM on this floor here as well with like little tufts of grass. And so the before and after comparison with just this corner is like superb. And so we spent a lot of time just using this corner for tracking before and afters, to be honest with you. And then you also have some great shots like this, like you can see all the fires reflecting off of this ivy here as well. And this and the subsurface on the leaves as you walk past here as well. It's very nice. Good stuff. This ivy was a collaboration between a guy named Andrew and another guy named E-Man. So those two have both done some both did some great work on the foliage in this demo. I believe there's a poison zombie in there. Yes, there is. So I think this is another example of alpha. Yes, it is. Look at that. Okay, I'm gonna look at this because this one's pretty good too. So as you can see here, each of these spokes is fully modeled here on this fence, right? All the way through, completely modeled, right? And on the original, low-res 2D texture. Faking the depth by having 2 copies, one either side, right? So, just fully model the whole thing, obviously. As I say, it looks like it would be overkill, but in a path tracing environment, that is actually cheaper to do than to make it alpha testing. So, yeah. Okay. This is an example of a corrugated metal that Michael adapted from Stan Brown's. Stan Brown did the original corrugated metal, and then Michael filled in the rest. So he did a really great job with those as well. Some more nice decals. That zombie off. And then these big wheels here were done by a guy named T-Braze. He's actually quite big in the Half-Life 2 beta community, so he joined and did some wheels for a while. That was pretty cool. So it came along pretty nicely too. And there's a nice little bit of moonlight coming in through this window here. Yeah, like that. It's nice. And of course this glass is using the glass shader, so it again refracts stuff behind it. It's got a little bit of frosting on it too. So it's pretty nice. This asset over here is actually another example of one that was just brushwork originally, as you can see, and then was turned into actual geometry. There's one particular guy on Half-Life 2 RTX who does a really great job of these. His name's Botzing, and he does a really, really good job with being given like crappy old DSP and turning it into something that makes sense. Oh, hello. I'm getting stuck in a bit of a corner here. Okay. It's getting a bit dubious, but that's okay. I remember when we played the Black Ops 3 Zombies map version of this map. With Half-Life 2 zombies and everything. That was pretty fun. DOSS 4 is already in this demo, Krez. Yeah, so we've got multi-frame generation and everything. I'm just, you know, this isn't a sponsored stream, so I'm talking about this as a developer because I really like what we've done here artistically. I'm not going super in-depth on stuff like MFG and etc. Because that's a marketing thing. But, you know, it is in there. So DOSS 4 and Ray Reconstruction are in here and everything, so yeah. Yeah, someone's made a Black Ops 3 Zombies version of this map. We actually streamed it on the channel a while back. It's in one of our Black Ops 3 Zombies streams. We occasionally play Black Ops 3 Zombies, but only if it's like a Valve map. So we've done a couple of Counter-Strike maps as well in Black Ops 3 Zombies. We don't just play Black Ops 3 Zombies randomly, but yeah. Oh, that guy dropped his head crab. We can go look at his face in a minute as I come across to here. Okay. Oh, okay, I'll drop down because someone said they really wanted to see the zombie face, so I will facilitate that.
You cut out for a second.
I cut out for a second. Hello? My back? I was just saying we're gonna go down here and look at this because someone said they really want to see the face, and I want to enable people to see the face. That's what. Give the people what they want. There we go. He's not thrilled. He's not doing well. He's not a happy camper. Oh, and look, the skull was exposed to the back. Ugh! Grim.
Damn.
God damn indeed. Who made the foliage? Right, well, the grass was made by E-Man. So the grass was made by E-Man and painted by Wormslayer. And then the ivy was done by E-Man and another guy named Andrew. But I don't know what username he goes by, and I don't want to give full names, so I'm just saying Andrew. But if Andrew watches this, he'll know I'm referring to you, Andrew. You know which Andrew you are. Okay. Oh, there's a trim here as well. This is another bit of trim that's actually in the map, which is nice. And again, which has a baked pipe map. Oh, Grigori's being helpful from up there. He has actually got his own modelled Annabelle, by the way. That was modelled by Exaros. Oh, these guys aren't going to stop coming, eh? He has actually got his own fully modelled Annabelle.
Brother. This is the wrong side of town for you. Did I not tell you to seek the church? Mend your ways before it is too late.
This is a nice little room in general, I think. There's just a lot of nice clutter in here. That kind of just has this room kind of come together a bit. And this is the table that Commander Carl made, by the way. I smashed it earlier whilst talking about it, but that's it. There it is again. These bits of rubble on the side are actually from Half-Life Alyx, and then we use them in a few maps to kind of just add some extra rubble into some of these maps in a nice way. So that looks pretty nice in general. There we go. I love using the SMG grenades. They're another really great demoing thing. They cast a nice big bright light with the explosion, and the fire looks great. Yeah. Okay. We're going back into the other map now. And this will be the end of Ravenholm in a second. Did I go the right way? Yeah. Maybe? Yeah. So I think it's actually this way? Yeah.
I love how the loading time still haven't changed.
Yep. Yeah, they are no longer nor shorter, I'm afraid.
Yeah, it's an understated benefit.
Yeah. These, I mean, we could, there's stuff we could VPK, which might actually make it a like, you know, milliseconds faster for the final thing. But not, noticeably, I should think. Yeah, these, folders here done by, an NVIDIA artist, if memory serves me correctly, as well. Looking pretty nice. And these receivers as well. These receivers were done for Kleiner's lab, and then obviously we're using Ravenholm as well. They have a nice glowing component on their screens, so I think it even casts like a little tiny bit of blue light if you... Yeah, there we go. If you hold it up to the wall. There it is. I'm looking for a particular box in here that Aiden from RTBR modeled, but I'm not sure it's in this room. Might be in Nova Prospect somewhere. Yeah. I still know about the shotgun. I'll pass on the feedback, and then the sound engineer can look at it. These roof tiles are really nice, done by a guy named Dirk. So looking very nice indeed. And then ice boxes too. So I think it's over there now, isn't it? Yeah, 'cause I need to get in the bucket. Fine, I'm gonna hang around down here for a second. So some of these nature assets aren't actually replaced yet, you can see like here. So we've got the ivy that hangs down, but not the actual rock wall. I think we have since looked at that rock wall, and maybe we have a replacement material now, but it won't be in the demo at this point. I can't really talk about assets we haven't done yet, I'm afraid. The way that the lights go on from those assets specifically is they're called emissives, and they're basically textures which give off light. So you can set the emissive intensity in Remix, so that's how much light, how strong the light should be. And then you can also separately set stuff like the emissive texture and so on, right? So, well, how do I get back up? Is it just up, straight back up here? I actually haven't played this map in a little bit, and I never go this way. When I've been testing this for the demo, I've only ever gone up these stairs, so. Okay. I'm also confused because I'm thinking about the RTBR version of this map, because the RTBR version is quite similar. So. Alright, grenades it is. Oh. That's fine. Okay. Up we go. So, just as we're talking here, again, I haven't pointed out, like, every single asset in the whole thing, but you guys should, of course, bear in mind that even the assets I haven't spoken about were still made by an incredibly talented person, you know, who did a really great job. And, you know, that's true of all the assets in this thing. Like, there is so much love poured into this thing, right? And, you know, that's, that has to be said for every single asset in this whole thing, right? So, even the assets I haven't specifically mentioned and everything, they're still amazing. I still love the artists who have done them. And definitely you guys should spend some time looking at assets that you think look really nice and you want another look at, because if there's detail and you just keep zooming in, there's more detail. Having a little sip of Pepsi again. Oh, bad timing. Okay. Right. Okay, he's done, but we're not. Oh, we're doing good on ammo. We got plenty of shotgun ammo. Go on, Grigori, at your own pace, mate. Come on, come on. Oh, I have to press it. Alright, I'm stupid, don't worry. Don't mind me. Come on, Grigori.
Almost there, brother.
Yeah, I'm stepping into the cart, brother. And it's another asset that used to just be a box. There we go, it used to just be a box, by the way. Here we go. There you go. Yeah, and that is the end of Ravenholm in this part of the demo. Now we're going into Nova Prospect. So, here we have more fences of actual model chain links. This is for the same reason I've explained all the others as to why we don't use alpha textures. So there you go, it's all fine. Nothing new to say there, really. And we have a couple new toys to show. So, of course, we now have the AR2. So I have a thing, I have a confession to make, which is that I don't actually like the look of the AR2 in Half-Life 2. I think it's a little bit messy as a design. I feel like it's a little too hard to actually tell what's going on, and so I'm not a big fan of the pulse rifle in Half-Life 2. However, the AR2 in Half-Life 2 RTX is fine. Also, I've never really been a big fan of other various redesigns, but I kind of like the ones in Half-Life Alyx. And the AR2 in Half-Life 2 RTX is like, I'm finally won over, that's it. I actually like this gun now, right? And I really, really like the job that Retro Boy did here with this asset. Like, this is one of the most gorgeous guns I've seen in anything. Like, just the sheer geometric detail and everything is superb, right? And, you know, I think it looks really nice, and I think the reload animation's very good. We did briefly consider doing the very popular remove the whole thing and magazine thing and put it back on, but we decided not to go that far. Decided to keep it pretty close to Half-Life 2 with the reanimation. And just the emissives as well, like just the red that's glowing and everything. Like, this asset is gorgeous, right? And then also when you shoot, it has like colorful muzzle flashes and everything, and impact effects which look really nice in context. So, yeah, I'll talk about the original, that's fine. Let me get into a place where you can kind of see the materials and the geometric detail really nicely. There you go. Bada bing, bada boom. And of course, we're in Nova Prospect now. So we're in Nova Prospect, we're looking around the prison. More of these fences. This vista here is really nice. There's a nice volumetric coming off of that combined light here. Here's a good time to say that all the lighting in this demo, obviously Remix allows you to interpret Remix allows you to interpret the original game lighting. And, you know, it looks pretty good out the box, but you kind of need to do some relighting, and the more relighting you do, taking advantage of RTX, the better the end result. And Chris has done a fantastic job relighting the whole thing, and making it just look amazing in so many places, and paying really close attention to the lighting profile to make it close to Half-Life 2 and everything. Yeah, he's done a really great job. There's some really strong, compelling visuals in this whole thing. What people are saying. Oh, I was a huge fan of Valve releasing the SIGGRAPH demos. Like, that was amazing, right? It was beautiful. Loved seeing it. That was like a peak moment for a cut content community fan for sure. Yeah. So here's something interesting. The levels were done with this plaster where it makes sense. Is they're actually rounded off at the corners a little bit. And these aren't rounded off with like actual geometry. They're just smoothing groups in Hammer. So you can smooth off the corners of some assets in Hammer, and then it will kind of like be a little smoother like this. And so some of them are actually beveled with actual geometry. It depends if the smoothing was sufficient. If the smoothing wasn't sufficient, then they were beveled instead, like completely all the way. And if it was sufficient, then you know, they were just smoothed like that, like you can see. So yeah, looks nice. Okay, let's pass through this little gap here. So erasing the bar Redux RTX is not like impossible, but it's one of those things where like, although if you just plugged it into Half-Life 2 RTX, you'd have maybe 60 to 80% of the assets. We also use quite a lot of beta assets, and besides beta assets, we also have a lot of our own assets. Now, most of our own assets were designed with PBR in mind originally, and then kind of we adapt them for use in the game. So it also wouldn't necessarily be that much work, but RTBR is also way more complicated than Half-Life 2. And so the performance would probably be a problem as well. It's not impossible. I think it's one of those things where when Half-Life 2 RTX is done and out, and when RTBR is like, you know, done and out, if people wanted to take a crack at it, I would be interested to see what they do. But I don't think we're going to be doing it. There's a turret. This turret was also inherited from a P17 and remade asset. And this combine locks from Half-Life Alyx, by the way. This is a Half-Life Alyx asset. Another example like the car that we inherited. Yeah, the models in RTBR aren't PBR. We design them with PBR in mind, and then we use a tool called the MWB tool, which was designed originally for porting Modern Warfare weapons from the newer Call of Duty Modern Warfares to Gary's mod. And we use this tool to convert our PBR maps into texture maps. And so a lot of our weapons and stuff. I don't know if Div 2 had this. I don't think Div 2 did have this, but the Div 3 demo does have this for a lot of weapons and a lot of our assets now. Right. So this health charger was made by Parrygod, adapted from the Half-Life Alyx one, did a really good job. And this suit charger is by someone named Ilya. The tool is called the MWB tool, I think. I mean, I think it's called MWB's modding tool, the MWB material tool, something like that. Yeah, like the cracked glass on that reflection there. It's very nice. And also the glowing yellow of the Combine Soldier masks casting the yellow light onto the ground and stuff. Oh. Sorry, is that what it looks like? Crap, let me look at this stream. Why is this so low frame rate? Okay, I can tell you for a fact I'm not getting frame rates that low right now. Let me... I can't show FPS in Steam. Maybe I can show FPS in Steam. Give me a sec. I'm just going to double check why the frame rate's coming through. Why is it coming through at 30 FPS? What the hell? Have you guys been looking at it at 30 FPS that whole time? Honestly. Okay, I should have caught that because this is running at like 100 and 120 frames for me. And to prove that, I will very quickly toss on the frame rate counter because I think it should be at about 100 frames, 120 frames here. How do I turn that on again? It's in like in-game FPS counter top right. No, is that not going to turn on? Oh, that's just great. Okay, so CL show FPS doesn't work in oh no, it does work. Okay, so I'm getting 93 frames, it says. It only works if it's in the top left, apparently. 120? 120, yeah, okay, cool. Right, I don't know why this is playing super low. I'm just going to quickly turn this back on so you guys can see. I don't know if you can see in that tiny little text in the top left. Is that even going to come through on the stream? Maybe it's not. Can you... Oh, no, that's tiny. Can you even see that? I'm looking on my phone and I can't even see that. No, that's
just barely visible on a monitor.
That's terrible. I'm sorry if you guys can't see that. Right. It's currently at 120 frames per second right now. I'm sorry that you can't precisely see that. But that is what it's at. I don't know why it's so tiny. Jesus. Can I make that bigger in Steam somehow? Let me turn off this display capture and stuff. No, you can't make it bigger either. Okay, that's cool. Thanks, Steam. It's worth noting the in-game FPSs don't take into account DLSS and that kind of thing. So it's, and frame gen. So those things don't get taken account for CL show FPS. So that's where you have to use, like, fraps or something, to check it. So sorry about that. Yeah, it's fine. I'm just going to leave it on so that you guys can see that during the stream, I guess. And if you can even read it. Now I'm just going to have a quick look at why it's coming through at such a low frame rate. Because I thought we were getting like a 60 FPS this whole time. Is there like a problem with like... It's supposed to be coming through at 60. That's weird. It's very weird. Okay, I don't know why it's not coming through at 60. I'm sorry, guys. Well, you don't have to take my word for it because the frame counter says it's not at 30 FPS. I don't know why it's locked to 30 FPS or something. But yeah, I apologize if it has looked stuttery this whole stream because I only just realized and I don't know why it's doing that. I've not streamed this before, so I don't, you know. I had some technical issues at the start of this stream, but I'm hoping... yeah, okay, fine. I did turn on display capture again. I'm hoping it will be solved, so... sorry about that, guys. But, you know, I guess you can still see that it looks pretty and stuff. Is it just a bitrate issue? Bandwidth issue? Let me just... I'm just moving around because I'm looking at my phone screen at the same time. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. Well, anyway, look in the top left if you want to see what my actual frame rate is. Okay, so... as we were going... Oh, hanging lights. This is a great opportunity to talk about something interesting here. Here we go. Oh, look at that. So we have dynamic lights in Half-Life 2 RTX, and basically this is done with Source. And so what we have in Source Engine is we have this be a prop physics that is parented to the ceiling with a couple of ball joints and some rope keyframes, and then we've parented a light to the actual a light emitter to the actual thing, and then you can do that, you know. So there's many hanging lights in Nova Prospect which work this way. Excuse me, and we plan to have more dynamic light kind of things. Yeah, it was static in the original. Yeah, it didn't move in the original. In the original, doing a dynamic light like this would have been super expensive. It's still expensive in normal SDK-based 2013. Like, unless you're using a projected texture, which we have done before in RTBR for achieving an effect kind of like this. If you're not using a projected texture and you're using an actual dynamic light, it's super expensive. And like, I mean, obviously this is expensive because it's ray traced, but it's expensive relative to the underlying source engine disproportionately. It's not even actually real-time lighting properly, so, you know.
Yeah, you also have some limits on projected textures.
Yeah. Some nice shadows being cast through here as well. Some more really grim, murky water down here. Yeah, you wouldn't really want to get stuck in that water either. You can kind of see how the water is reflecting the surface as well up against. It's like Half-Life 2's water was actually really great for its time. It's one of those. Okay, thank you. It's one of those things that like yeah, because Half-Life 2's water was so good for its time. It's something. It was interesting. It was interesting for us to measure up against it and to see, well, we need to at least match it. And then we try to do a bit more. So obviously the reflections are fully real time, and we have some nice high frame rate animated normal maps on there. And then there's other effects that are only through translucency, like refraction of the underneath and stuff like that, which are not always done for every water source in Half-Life 2. So, yeah. Okay. And then yeah, got some nice. Wait. These barnacles, by the way, are from Half-Life Alyx. I'm not quite sure why they look the way they do, because they don't look like this in Half-Life Alyx. I think the shading is a little different, like the actual like material shading for the PBR is different in Half-Life Alyx versus in Half-Life 2 RTX. So we're probably gonna revisit this in some capacity. I can't specify how at this time, but we're probably going to revisit it. So, you know, it's decent. It was fine enough for the demo. And then, you know, for the full thing, we have some ideas of how to revisit it. So. I also haven't talked about the crossbow yet. This is a bad idea to use the crossbow to kill this head crab. So the bolts glow. And this was an artistic decision a little bit. I know ostensibly they should stop glowing once they're probably in a wall. But we thought it would look cooler if they were actually glowing whilst in the wall as well in a dark space. So it's one of those things, it's like, it's a little bit of an artistic decision, but I think it looks cool. I'm just gonna give myself some more crossbow ammo. Item ammo crossbow, even? There it is. And then again, you can see that it's animated with some new stuff. And then the scope has a nice, you can zoom in and stuff. It also has a very low roughness. We will actually reflect things and refract things as well, which looks very nice. We could make them go down over time, but that would actually be an edit on the source engine, and then we would just make sure that it was edited in Remix to account for that. So you can fade between two textures, but but that's just not something we've done yet, and may or may not do it. Depends. It's kind of it's just one of those things we don't do as much source engine editing as we do actual remix editing. Typically, we do a bit of source engine edits here and there for sure, but yeah. I haven't actually met any antlions yet. Lovely toilet sink. And by someone named Safe Milk. Safe Milk is actually making their own RTX remaster of Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, by the way. And it's looking gorgeous. So, you know. Have I done something wrong? Do I need to... Where's my bugs? Where's my buggy boys? I'm not sure where they are.
No, you don't get the...
I don't get the bugs yet? Oh man. I thought I had some bugs at this point. Oh, I haven't shown the theropod yet either. Okay, right, let's show the theropod as well. So the theropod also actually has subsurface scattering. So as I look around this light a bit, you'll see that like it's transmitting light through the skin folds and stuff like that. And then as it gets into shadow, it's kind of absorbing more light from the environment. Because it's organic. You can kind of see how it's illuminating the inside and everything. And then obviously all the little nubs on top are emissive. But then also when you squeeze it, this is a lovely little detail in the reanimation. They added a bunch of extra bones to it, so that when you squeeze it, it actually like squeezes. You see? So actually like, oh, you can actually really feel how squidgy that would be. Grim. So the little fireflies I think actually give off a little bit of light. Yeah, they do give off like a little tiny bit of light, as you can see. That's kind of neat. Okay. And then we have the RPG, which is pretty neat itself. And we're just going to use this to blow up a turret, because that's a good use of it. Explosions on demand with a great rocket, and I'm not going to be able to properly show the rocket lighting in here, because I'm inevitably going to hit it into these pillars, but there you go. Oh, and also had his own reload sound and stuff as well. Okay, jump through here. Supposed to be able to get through this, right? Okay, no, I can't. I'm just fat. It's fine. Okay. I haven't gotten an energy ball yet. I'll tell you what, I'm gonna give myself an energy ball down here in a minute. And then we're gonna bounce it around a bit and we're gonna see how it looks. Then look at this remastered beauty. Look at that. We're gonna have to be careful because he's also actively trying to kill me. Let me AI disable him. All the detail on that anatomy. And then like some gentle glows on the back of his quills as well. I'm in a corner here. Alright, let's get out of here. Here's a fun little thing that we did in this map as well, as I run away from this guard. This room, originally, did not have a door in it, if you can believe that. Which means that this room was just actually a room that just existed for some reason. Did I get him? I got him, nice. So Worm just added a door here, so it makes a little bit more sense. The glow is a little bit overblown right now. We're going to reduce it a bit more than that. But the glow is intended to be... it still needs to be visible because it's important for like gameplay reasons. So it's one of those things that's not fully physically based, but you need to make it real. No, I don't think there was a door here. I think this was just a plain wall before. Yeah, because there's no door that's been broken, right? And there's showers here on the walls. I don't think there was a door here. Yeah, so these antlions are really pretty as well, of course. These antlions were a collaboration between Sterling FM, who you might recognize from the source spotting community, and also another artist on from RTBR, Amy Amicus, my co-lead actually. She worked with Sterling to create these antlions here. She worked on the initial sculpt and setup, and Sterling kind of just sort of uplifted the sculpt and made our final result. So, some really great stuff all in all. And then the gibs of these antlions, these ones just faded, but I'll just blow up this antline and that'll... These gibs were also made by Amy from RTBR, so... Yeah, the goal was to bring in a few sensible details from Half-Life Alyx 1, like that mouth down there, but then to still keep it looking like the Half-Life 2 one, right? Generally speaking, we're trying to kind of interpret things closer to Half-Life 2 and that sort of thing. In some places, we've deviated just a little bit where it feels like another one may be a good fit. But yeah. And here's another place where you can swing lights. Of course. Right, now I want to give myself a ball. What's the AR2 item? AR2 alt fire. Item ammo AR2 alt fire. That's it. That's neat. The balls glow. I forgot about that. This asset isn't actually replaced yet, but for a few unreplaced assets that should be emissive, we actually added some emissives. So yeah. There we go. So, I'm gonna launch this ball now. That's a nice little effect there as well.
Did it always have a trail?
Some of this is going to be particle effects from Gunship Mark II again. So some of these ball effects are enhanced by Gunship Mark II, and then we threw RTX lighting on it and stuff as well. We inherited a lot of these RTX settings from Portal RTX for the balls because they already sorted some stuff out, and then we adjusted them to fit our purposes a bit differently. These man hacks, by the way, are from Half-Life Alyx. Some of these ports from Half-Life Alyx and stuff, we used ports from Game Banana, but with permission from the creators, and they're listed in the credits at the end after the demo. So, if you want to see who, so some people will be in the credits of this who may not have necessarily expected to be in the full credits from people we asked permission for. So, go and check those out as well. I think in the demo, this is the manhack and the barnacle. So the Vortigern is not actually replaced yet. So that's why this is still the normal Vortigern. But it is, of course, on the cards for a full replacement in the future. So, there we go. This little cardboard box here was done by Aiden from RTBR as well. He's done a bunch of other things besides just this. He hasn't only done this, but, you know. I remembered he did this box, and I was trying to find it in this demo so I could show his work specifically. Okay. I needed to pick something, right? Yeah, it's this one. I don't want this guy to blow this up if at all possible. 'Cause I'd like to... No. Stop. Stop. No, don't do it! Ah. The best laid plans are mice and men. Oh well. It is what it is. I'll show that later then. I was going to show the slam, but it's fine. I'll show it later. Whatever. Alright. Oh, here's something interesting. These little fencing things inside this glass is also actually modeled. And that is for the same reason as I brought up before. You cheeky bugger waiting underneath the stairs. What a cheeky man he was. Body blocking my face. Oh yeah, the vending machines do glow, don't they? Yeah, that's true. Go have a quick look at that. There you go. Yeah, there's a little blue light coming off of them. Spits out green cans. There you go. You saw it here first. Or if you played the demo, then you saw it there first. But, you know, whatever, right? Ignore that. Grenade time? Yeah, grenade. Go away. Oh, come on. Okay. Go my ball. Okay, that didn't work. Try again. Did that work? No, not really. Oh. It's gonna be a challenge. Go on. Ah! Go on, go on, go on, bugs. Distract him. So I can blow him up. No! Oh, our first death. Embarrassing. Okay. To be honest, I struggle with turrets in general. I struggle with them in RTBR too. They're a tricky enemy. Alright, I see what you're doing. Get out of here. There we go. Okay, come on. Yeah, we'll look at the tiles in a second once I finish killing this stupid sentry. Okay, hang on. I have something cool to show here. You know, I'm gonna no target to show this. So you see this hole here. So in the original, this is a hole where an antlion bursts out of the ground, right, and then joins your party, right? Joins your party, you know, your squad, whatever. So what Worm did is he added a bunch of Funk Fizzbox tiles onto the top of them, so that when it bursts open... Hello? There we go. When it bursts open, there's a bunch of stuff that bursts up as well. So that's pretty nice. Do I... Oh, I don't have the... Eh? Go on, that'll do it, surely. There we go. How's that, buggy boys? Not bad. Okay, right, go away. I need to get in here.
What's that shield texture from?
This shield texture. So this shield texture was made by Michael. To try and make an animated texture that works similar to the original. And then also these shield barriers here are from Half-Life Alyx as well. So we imported these from Half-Life Alyx. We actually imported a lot of Combine tech from Half-Life Alyx because it's just really, really good. And then the Combine tech we didn't is based very heavily off of the Half-Life Alyx Combine tech. And yeah, these vents look lovely. Whoa, look at that. Have you ever wanted to be in a vent so much in your life? I think not. Okay, so, I need to jam this. Okay, it's not that. Shovel. No! Nice. There we go. Yeah, the Combine walls are also from Half-Life Alyx, that's right. Right, so, here we go. You can see there's some nice metal reflections on this thing too. That looks pretty nice too. This is another thing that was just very simple brushwork before, by the way. It's slightly more complicated brushwork than some other stuff in Half-Life 2. But obviously, you know, we took it to the next step and you add bolts and rivets and connectors and so on and so forth, and it kind of makes it way more detailed, right? So, yep. So, heading up into here. Okay. Cheeky dude. You thought I wouldn't see you. That was interesting. Oh, here's another thing. This panel here also used to be brushwork. Let me go my bugs. This panel here also used to be brushwork actually. So you can see we've got a fully got a fully glass covering here. It's nice that is actually reflecting the world and refracting it and everything. You can go and sit on the other side of it as well if you really want to. And then all of these individual buttons and a little bit of combine in there. It's like a combine panel. It's hooked up to the power supply, so it's a little bit combiney and stuff, right? So if I turn off the enhancements here, then you can see that's what it was originally. So some nice comparisons going on here. Here's another great use of the POM, by the way. It's one of the limitations as well, because obviously it is stretching the texture to make it work. But it's okay because we get lovely effects like this. So I think you accept a certain amount in order to get that from it. But of course, the plug holder. So the plug holder is inherited from Portal, and then the plug was made by Michael. If I do that. And then the bugs are back in town. Let's go. Ready, boys? Ready to rumble? Go! Wait, hang on. Let me turn these off for a sec so we can talk about these slams before I forget. Okay. So the slams in Half-Life 2 are like, I mean, did we actually turn this off? No, we actually ported in the full slam. Alright, it's fine. So there is a slam in Half-Life 2 which it's basically just like the combine button texture, and that's it. And then the actual slam is from they had a slam in a Half-Life 2 beta, they brought it back for the deathmatch. And so what we did is we on the source engine side, we replaced the crappy button version, with the Half-Life 2 Deathmatch Slam again. And then what we did after that is, yeah, we remade the Slam. So, if I turn this off, it's kind of hard to see because the light goes off as well, but, you know. Yep, it's a remade texture. It's a fully remade model and texture and everything. So, yeah. So, there you go. Right, come on. That's exactly what I knew was going to happen. Yep, alright, go on. Do it again, why don't you? Nice, good shot. Thanks. Good job, boyo.
The capture of Eli Vance is an event of major significance, make no mistake. And while it's true that conceivably we could have taken it at almost
okay. I think some of these doors are actually models now, I think. Yeah, some of these doors are textures and some are models. We turned some of them into models because they looked better with actual geometry on them instead of being purely height maps. So, they were... Oh, come on, boys. Come on, lads. Go on. On you go. Go on, bugs. Go. Go for it. Okay, or don't, I guess. Sure. Well, for what it's worth, now that we've Okay. Now that we've added the slam as a fully remade asset, you could totally just use it for a view model reanimation and port it in with Remix. So that's an option if you wanted to do anything with it now, with the demo being out there and all. I mean, that's also of course viable with the Annabelle too, because the Annabelle's also got its own model, and it will be viable with the Alex gun, since of course the Alex gun will be remodeled too. So just some ideas to throw out there for things people may want to do. It's amazing that I never had this problem when I was demoing this section, and I'm now having it when I'm trying to stream it. Come on. What were you gonna say, Abby?
Oh yeah. So that turret corridor you just passed through.
Yeah.
That was shown in the trailer, right? You can see that the gravity gun had no like effects. When that trailer was filmed, I think the effects were basically missing textures, which actually don't show up in Remix. So the gravity gun in the trailer just had like no holding effects. It didn't have the iconic purple black thing that you see.
Yeah.
Yeah, we fixed it in time for the demo, but
yeah, luckily. Yeah, very important.
Yeah, interesting story.
Yeah. And I mean, didn't you implement the particle effect as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The beams are like, the stock beams from Half-Life 2 are like kind of ugly.
Yeah. So we did a remake of the effects, which was derived from our gravity gun effect in RTBR, which themselves are derived from a similar method. I think Random Cut used a similar method to the Portal 2 holding beam on the portal gun. And then we did something similar for the gravity gun here. The replacement gun's not remade yet, but obviously we have a really great reference now for what a combined rifle should look like with the AR2. And that's another one which, you know, you could definitely use to make like a usable emplacement gun, when a player wieldable emplacement gun was done. So, yeah. Right. Hey? Oh, I know what I'm doing wrong. Hang on. Here we go. So Michael did a lot of the plaster walls here. In fact, he did most of the plaster walls in Ravenholm. So he did a really great job getting all these to look nice. There we go, nailed him to the wall. Very good. Okay.
Congratulations, a strong measure of disappointment. I wouldn't be doing my duty as your administrator if I didn't pass along the message I have received from our benefactors. The capture of Eli Vance is an event of major significance, make no mistake.
Alright, I think one of these filing cabinets, these ones might actually be from Half-Life Alyx, perhaps. I think they could be. I think one of these sets of filing cabinets is from Half-Life Alyx, if memory serves me correctly as well. And yeah, so the combine ball was not replaced. We just did some very simple PBR tweaking. So although it doesn't have full PBR materials, Remix also lets you do things like add a metallic constant, so we can make it metallic and shiny. But it's obviously not fully remade yet. So this will be fully remade for the full thing. It's just right now it's got a little glow on it. So. Oh, there's our replaced Stalker.
However, we cannot count on such developments. Dr. Freeman's reputation is such that other desperate...
let's no-clip out there to find it, I think, so we can get another good look at it.
Renegades are likely to grant him a great...
I think they're over there somewhere. I'm gonna be flying away from those dudes for a sec. Leave them in peace. They're not here. There's a stripped soldier. We haven't replaced the stripped soldiers yet, that's known. There's another one. The stalkers in here? Yeah, there he is. So the stalkers are fully remade. This was done by Fabiano. He's done a really great job. They've got some nice little glows on them and stuff as well.
Ugh. Gnarly.
Yeah. Her nose isn't very nice, is it? So yeah. Alright, cool. That's what I wanted to show. We're going to go back into a playable space now. Yeah, the Stalkers are remade. That's right. Some of these interfaces are from... Half-Life Alyx, and some of them are remade new by us.
Well, you have consistently failed to slow, let alone capture. These
Okay, and then we're moving in here. I think this might be the last map. Is this the last map? I think it might be. Let me... No,
Yeah, it's the last map.
Is it the last one? Yeah, it is the last one. Yeah, that's right. Okay, cool.
If it's not the last, it's pretty close.
Yeah, I remember we used to go a little bit into the first bit of Prison 06, but we don't anymore. So yeah, this is the last map now. Come on, boys. Okay. Oh. And you remember there's a slam right here, so do not get too overexcited. Oh. I maybe got a little bit excited.
Unfortunate.
Yeah.
Revoking your Half-Life 2 license.
Yeah, well, I'm very sorry. How embarrassing for me. Oh, there's two of them. Oh, that one doesn't... I see. I think I saw someone record that one. It does blow up, but it doesn't disappear, so... You blow it up once and you're safe. Right. Now, okay, now these machines, these washing machines were inherited from Portal RTX. These long ones. Where in Portal RTX they just kind of use them as generators, which is quite funny. I think, from memory, that the washing machines are actually used by, or were made by a guy who goes by Constantine. And Constantine, at the time, he's not anymore, but at the time when he joined us and did these washing machines, he was actually the, one of the lead art directors on the Silent Hill 2 remake, which was pretty cool. So it was very cool to have him on board. And this whole project has been a really great excuse to work with some super interesting people who are very talented and very capable. Like Constantine. Oh, hello. I forget about you. There's a lot of very little pretty assets here. Oh, and we've got that asset too. Cool, very good. Talk about that. That's the crossbow looking nice. Electrical box. More electrical boxes, and this one up here is really, really good. Let's get up close to this one. Can I have a decent light shining on this one? So on this one, you can see that the internals are actually fully modeled. And again, there's a glass covering over the thing, right? And then if I do this and turn it off, see that in the original, it's literally just a flat texture, right? So. So yeah, looks pretty great. Okay. Right, so, with all of that, let's jump over here and be on our way to the end of the map. Right. Gonna make the light swing for dramatic effect. Blow that up. Crowbar, there we go. Alright. Okay. One down here. No, we need to jump through the window, don't we? Yeah, that's right. Let's see here again, the actual modelled mesh wire fences in this class here. Okay. Here come the soldiers. Come on, boys. Come on then. Oh, I still got no target on. Whoops. Oh well. And here I was thinking I was just really good at the game. Oh well. Point is the assets, not the gameplay. Made pretty short work of him anyway, didn't we? Not bad at all. Yep. Yeah, so Remix only really lets us deal with the graphical limits of Source, but there are other things that we're doing. Like Abby mentioned earlier, we are looking into putting this on map base so that we can have some, so that mapping for Half-Life 2 RTX and such will be a little bit better. I mean, you know, besides that, it's like the main. I would argue one of the main limits of Source is its graphical stuff nowadays, but that it's still a pretty powerful engine otherwise. Oh, look, this area looks pretty nice, eh? So yeah, these. I think this is literally the last dude we're going to kill in the demo. Ah! I walked into the trigger. Okay. That's okay. Alright. Well, I'm gonna let the credits play. But there you go. Yeah, so those combine walls, they were from Half-Life Alyx as well. And yeah, that zombie was the last dude, I guess. So, there we go. There's me, David Dravagon. There I am. There in the credits. Abby, you're in here somewhere.
I was up the top.
Oh, have you already been? Okay, you've already been. Okay, cool. You can see just how many people were a part of this whole thing, right?
Yeah. Like...
Loads of people coming together to make this amazing thing happen, man. It's crazy.
It's a massive effort.
Wicot, yeah, some new stuff has been added to a few maps, and Wormslayer had the original sources of the assets from Wormslayer had the original sources of the assets from where of the maps from when he got a license for Half-Life 2 VR. So some of that has been utilized as well. And then we go through the Half-Life 2 credits as well. There he is, Gabe Newell. He's in there apparently. Anyway, that's about it. So, these credits, I'll let them play out. Even though they're the Valve ones, but you know, that's fine. And I think, does it kick you back to the main menu or does it stay black? It does kick you back to the main menu. Let's load up the Map background. 05. Let's no. So 05. Like that. Another prospect one. Alright, let's load this one up and keep this one up. Anyway, that's about it. There we go. That was Half-Life 2 RDX. So I hope you enjoyed this. I'm sorry it came through at 30 frames per second for some reason, but you can see by my frame rate counter I was getting much healthier frames than that. I hope you enjoyed getting a really nice detailed look at the visuals, seeing as I was able to stream in a fairly high visual quality. And that ultimately, yeah, but you have gotten a nice good look at it. So, yeah, but if you've played the demo when it first came out and you haven't played it since, I would recommend it because we have done a couple patches which fix a couple assets, update the lighting a bit, a few other things like that. You know, follow the project, stay in touch over Twitter and that sort of thing to kind of see how it all comes along. And you can also just, you know, we'll ping about it occasionally in the RTBR server since a lot of us work on Half-Life 2 RTX as well, so you can just kind of also keep an eye on that and you'll get some pokes the same way. Yeah, well that's about it. I think we'll wrap up now, folks, so thank you everyone for watching, thank you everyone for taking a look, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed this little insight into how this project's coming along, and that you'll check it out when the full thing comes out. Thanks, Abby, for joining me this whole time as well, and for being my sports commentator buddy.
No problem.
Alright. Thank you, everyone. And, well, have a good weekend. And we'll see you soon.